This is the formula that we used to calculate a monthly mortgage payment. Now, it's a pretty complicated formula, so we're going to need to make sure that we understand everything about the formula. First of all, the P in the formula represents the principal. That's the amount that you're going to finance. So in this problem, it would be $80,000. In some problems, you'll have a down payment. So let's say you had a 20% down payment. 20% of $80,000 is $16,000. So you wouldn't be financing the $16,000 if you had a down payment. So you would subtract the $16,000 from the $80,000, and instead of putting $80,000 in there, in that case you would put $64,000 in there. So you need to make sure that you're taking any down payment that you might have into account. In this particular problem, you do not have a down payment, so for P you'll have $80,000. And your R is your interest rate, just like in everything else we've done. So you have two pieces to this formula. You have the top and you have the bottom. So we're going to put our R in there just like we did the top. Now, this last part, this 12t, this exponent, the t stands for time, so that would be 12 times 25, and 12 times 25 is 300, so 300 is going to go right here. Now you're going to need to be careful when you do this and do the top part of your calculator first, maybe do some rounding, and then do the bottom part of your calculator. So if I were going to do this problem, I would need to do the 0.06 divided by 12 first. So if I take my calculator and I do 0.06 divided by 12, I get 0.005. And 0.005 times 80,000 is 400. So that's what goes on the top. So let's just put that there beside it. That's the figures from the top. Now the bottom is a little more complicated. You need to do parentheses first. So I can do the 12 plus 0.06 in my head and get 12.06. So I need to punch in my calculator 12 divided by 12.06. And I get this long decimal of 0.9950248,756. That is what gets raised with our exponent key to the 300th power. And when I do that, I get, so I'm going to write down this 1, and I'm going to get what I put in my calculator, what I got from my calculator. It's a long decimal, so I'm going to round. So now I have the top of 400 and the bottom of 1 minus 0.224. I need to put the 1 minus 0.224 in my calculator and get 0.776. So 400 divided by 0.776 is roughly 515.46. It's money, so make sure you're rounding to the hundredths place, which is money. Now, if you look in the back of the book at some of your problems, or if you keep everything in your calculator, then you're going to get a slightly different answer. But if you're rounding, you're going to get something a little bit different. It's usually in the cents part of it. As long as you're not several dollars off, you're still okay. Now, some problems will also have taxes or homeowners fees or something like that in them, and you'll have to take that into consideration when we say what is it they're paying every month for their home. So a home payment doesn't just necessarily have what's calculated for the mortgage, it might have something else in it. The previous problem just had the mortgage. This one actually says, in addition, they owe $2,800 in annual taxes and $750 in homeowners insurance. So this one has taxes and insurance included in it too. So before we even start our monthly mortgage payment, we need to figure out how much we pay per month in those other two fees. So we would need to take our calculator and do 2,800 divided by 12 because it's annually. So we would end up paying $233.33 just in taxes alone. So that's for our taxes. So let's just keep that figure aside for a minute. We have $750 in homeowners insurance. So we need to again divide that by 12, find out how much that payment is per month, and it is $62.50. So those two things are additional on top of our mortgage payment. So let's figure out what our mortgage payment is now. We have a 25-year loan, $175,000 at 7%. We have no down payments. We don't have to worry about that. So in our formula, we're going to put $175,000 times 0.07 over 12. That's the top part. Then we're going to put 1 minus 12 over 12 plus 0.07. For this part, it's 12 times 25, which is 300. Now we're going to take the stuff that's in our formula and put it in our calculator. So we're going to put 0.07 divided by 12. That gives us this big long decimal, 0.005833333333, and that's what's going to get multiplied by 175,000. So on the top, if I round, I'm going to have this figure. That's the top. I'm going to now work on the bottom and take 12 divided by 12.07. I get a long decimal. I'm going to raise that to 300, hit enter, and so now for the bottom, I have the 1 minus, and I'm going to round 0.175. So this is what I have so far. So now I need to do a little more work to it. I'm going to take the bottom and put in my calculator the 1 minus 0.175 and come up with 0.825. That's the bottom. I still have this top here. So if I punch in my calculator 1020.83 divided by 0.825, I now have for my monthly mortgage payment $1,237.37. That's the mortgage payment. But I also have these two figures over here that I've put aside. So I'm going to need to add the $233.33 for the taxes and the $62.50 for the insurance. So if I punch in 1237.37 plus 233.33 plus 62.50, I have a monthly mortgage payment of $1,533.20. So I'm paying $1,533.20 for my mortgage payment. That's my monthly mortgage payment with the taxes added in and the homeowner's insurance added in.